So let's see if we can figure this out. Because I screwed this up before the mic didn't work. And first you can I'm just gonna do a sound check real quick. Okay, I think the mic's working. I'm gonna just set up everything here in just a moment. Give me a moment here. Not much sound, but I'm doing stuff. Alright guys, so this chair I think was like $20 at Target. Not sponsored by Target, but it was super cheap by the chair. So we can get everything all comfortable and I'll get everything all set up here to get ready for this live stream. Alright, let's turn it around. Right, I think we're good to go. Now I know that it is windy, there's traffic, so of course the sound might not be absolutely wonderful, but just making sure everything's working here. And hello, thanks for anyone that just came in and joined me. And hello, thanks for anyone that just came in and joined me. Okay, yeah, so that sound's working. Good sound check there. And if you want to know where I'm at, I actually don't know where I'm at. I've been driving. I probably drove for like 2 hours north of Seattle, Washington, and I was driving on the freeway and I kind of saw the lake that was off to the side of the freeway, so I thought I would stop here. And actually, there's a lot of people here fishing. Ooh, and I think I see some wild berries. Let me grab one. All right, so see, this is wild berries. They just grow here on the bushes, and you can eat them. Yeah, so after this long drive, I thought I would just stop, and there were all these people fishing. So there's like these little cutouts on the side of the lake. Oh wow, we have some visitors. There are some cutouts on the side. Ah, I think the duck's gonna come up here. There were cutouts on the side of the lake for people to like sit up with all their fishing gear and stuff, and I had to find an open spot. There's actually a lot of people out here fishing, so it wasn't easy to find an open spot. So hello to our little visitors. This is potentially mama duck, and those were some of her babies that came by. right, so today I'm working with what is this? Oh, a tripod. That's what I'm working with. I'm not using my gimbal. I got my tripod. I've got this chair that's super comfortable. It was only $20 at Target. Hello to anyone just joining. Hello, Jub, and hello, Rocco. And hello to Josh. Hello to Leanne. All right, so it says, how's it going? How's the water feeling? I'm going to assume the water is cold. I haven't gone out in the water. So today I actually made a little trip to this place. It's called Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was able to find. Well, what I was looking for was one of those pads that you lay down when you're going to be sleeping in a sleeping bag in a tent and the ground is too hard. So I looked for one of those pads that folds up. That you've probably seen a lot of people use those. They you can strap them to your backpack, and I found one that was more a rolled up kind. It's not the fold up kind, and it actually seemed a lot softer, thicker than the fold up kind. Um, because I do have kind of a trip coming up, and what I want to do is getting ready for the trip, meaning like how I'm gonna pack my car and get everything all set up to go camping. And the plan, of course, I'm in Washington State. The plan is, of course, to cross over the Canada border and go to Canada for the day. Um, because I am, well, right now I'm pretty north of Seattle, like 2 hours north of Seattle. So um, it's really not that far from the border. So, anyways, there's a new person here that says hello, ma'am. So, hello to you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so what I want to do is kind of like document that. So, not so much like to document the trip, but kind of like the setting up of the trip, of like what I do to get prepared for a trip. And then, of course, once I'm in Canada, well, I don't know how much I can film in the border crossing, but once I'm in Canada, I'm going to film some stuff there. So that is my plan. And this whole time, I've been planning to go, but I was waiting for like the seasons and the weathers to change. Because when I wanted to go before, it was winter and there was snow, and it's like not always safe to be driving in the snow. So now we're finally heading into the summertime where it's getting like really warm during the daytime. Today I think was 72 degrees Fahrenheit here. So real quick, let me show you. This is what I mean, like how there's always like all these berries, just wild berries growing here. So you can come out in nature and just eat as many berries as you'd like. It's free. Um, so yes, I like to eat berries. And I know sometimes people are checking in to say hello and everything. I know people like to ask like, "Oh, well, where are you watching from?" But then I've heard other people say like you shouldn't say online where you live because for safety reasons. So I would just So I just like to, I tell people where I'm at. I'm in Washington State, the United States, but if you feel comfortable saying where you're at, you can. Now, the funny thing about the YouTube live stream, like there'll be these little pop-ups that I get that'll like suggest things to me where I'm supposed to like quiz the audience and ask people questions. And one of the pop-ups that came up right now, it asked me, I'm supposed to ask people if they like their job. So I don't know why YouTube wants me to ask people that, but I personally like my job, and I'm not at work right now though, but I do like my usual 9 to 5. It's about 5 p.m. here on a Friday. I do not work on Fridays, and that's one thing I like about my job is always having Friday off. Uh, let's see. So 100 degrees in Sacramento. That's very hot. Another thing about living in Washington is most people here don't have air conditioning in their house, um, because they'd probably tell you they don't need it here because it's kind of cool weather year round. But I have been here where it was like in the 90s. It doesn't really get to be 100, but I mean, it'll get to be 90 degrees. And so sometimes it can be very hot if you live in a house with no air conditioning, or if you work for a company like and the business doesn't have any air conditioning. There's a lot of businesses that will actually close down for the day when it's that hot, just because it's like too hot to like have people, yeah. Okay, so real quick, if you're getting tired of looking at this, I'm just gonna show you kind of what's around here. This is like a walking path. So see, it's just like a walking path this way and a walking path this way, and then you come back here, and this is our little setup to, like I said, there's these little cutouts in the bushes where people set up to fish, and I'm not fishing, but I'm still using the little cutout here to set up and just make my video. And no, we don't really get humidity here. I can remember a time where I traveled to Pennsylvania in the summertime, and it was extremely humid there. I don't know if anyone here has ever been to Pennsylvania. I was not familiar with Pennsylvania when I went there, but I was a little surprised by the humidity. And so, if any of you like, if this is your first time, you just go into Lizzie Food Live. So my channel, I usually talk a lot about jobs, and I talk about employment and just nature, road trips, going on, day trips. And I've tried, because I live in Seattle. I've tried to do a few videos to show people what Seattle looks like. But I do spend a lot more time in nature than in what is typically considered like hi than what is considered like the downtown touristy area of Seattle. And sometimes people will say it's very like crime, but so I spend a lot of time in nature just because I don't know, it's peaceful. It's just a change of scenery when you do live kind of like in the downtown area and you're surrounded by that all the time. And the other thing the reason I mentioned, some of my videos about jobs and working, I think yesterday I may have posted a short about one of the jobs I've had when I lived here in Seattle. And so sometimes, like, I feel like, well, I'm doing all these videos talking about working. Why don't I just show you the places I've worked? So I posted a short showing you a place I work that basically I don't work there anymore because that job has been eradicated and is now obsolete. obsolete, just like many people's jobs are probably going to be soon because of AI and whatnot. Especially if you've ever worked a job that involves some sort of cashiering or ticket taking or something where a customer has to walk up to you and you exchange money to buy something. A lot of these jobs, of course, are taken over by like self service. Like, I've worked places where I worked like a box office selling tickets for like concerts. Well, now people just buy their tickets online. And when you go to a concert, you just show the ticket that's on your phone to like get in. Like, you don't need a box office anymore. So that's a job I don't have anymore. And then the video I posted was like a cashier job where basically I worked for the Seattle monorail, and so people would have to buy a ticket to ride the monorail, and then you have to scan your ticket to ride the monorail. You do that all through the cashier, and that's not a job anymore because now you just buy your ticket at a machine, and then when you want to enter the monorail, you just scan your ticket to, at a booth. Like, there's no person taking your ticket, basically. There's just like a computer that you scan your ticket and you ride the monorail. So I said, like, there's a lot of jobs that people have that they're not going to have anymore because those aren't jobs anymore. Like, even if you worked at a grocery store, most people just do like the self checkout. Like, you don't have to actually go up to the person and ring up your stuff. Like, you just ring it up yourself. There's no cashier. So obviously, a lot of people over the years probably lost their jobs because of stuff like that. So hello to Shay Shay McGowan. Uh, how how are you doing? It says so pretty, but hi. So hello to you. So yeah, I might just post some more videos of other places I work. Sometimes I think like I don't know if places want me to talk or say that I work there. Like they might, it might be a negative thing that I say about them, so they probably don't want me posting a video about it. There's some jobs I've had in Seattle that are probably for some well-known companies, and I haven't always had the best experience working at places in Seattle. So, I try to be very vague when I explain some places I've worked at. All right, let's go for a little walk because I noticed like right over here there's a sign. It says no trespassing. So curious. Okay. I've never been here before, so I don't really know the layout of what it's like here. It's pretty windy where I'm at, so I really would not want this camera to like tip over into the water. Let's check things out this way. Okay, so now YouTube is prompting me to ask another question to my audience. They're asking if any of you have an office job, yes or no. Uh, I don't know why YouTube wants to know this stuff. First, they want to know if you like your job, and now they want to know if you have an office job. Um, I guess technically my job would be considered like a warehouse job, um, but there is an office, and I do have a desk. Uh, but a lot of what I do, like we ship a lot of things. So when I say we do shipping, like we ship things, but we also ship things like through the post office, FedEx, UPS, and then we also ship using air cargo, which means we take shipments to the airport, and then our stuff goes on an airplane with all the other, passengers and everything. But um, you might be surprised to know that shipping things air cargo is actually can be a lot cheaper than shipping something FedEx. Um, I've never personally done this through my work, but I know that you can also ship things through Amtrak. So if you had a large item you needed to ship, you could probably go to Amtrak and you tell them where you want it shipped, and they have a cargo program as well. Okay, so you said you work kitchen and construction. So construction, I'm wondering that probably pays well, but it's also a lot of hard work. And depending on if you're doing indoors or outdoors construction, I can't imagine having to work outdoors in like 100-degree temperature. Like that would be awful. But so I know that when I lived in Arizona, obviously Arizona is really hot. Um, but I know there would be certain crews that they would only do construction at like 4 in the morning because it's like you could only work like at nighttime because it was like too hot to actually do anything in the daytime. So, uh, but if you're doing indoor construction, that's different. Oh yeah, so back to what I was saying that I work in a warehouse, right, and we ship things. But there's more to the job than that, and I will tell you that a lot of it, I do a lot of. So there's no interacting with, like, there's nobody that comes into our business like a customer walks in and wants to buy something or anything like that. But let's see, 28 hours, it's fair in the sun all day. Oh no. Like, okay, but yes, but I do deal with customers, and usually it's unhappy customers because a lot of our contact with customers is over email, and it's usually people that are wanting their stuff shipped, and then they send an email and they're angry because their stuff wasn't shipped on time or didn't get delivered on time, or something to that effect. And that's where it gets very frustrating because if we ship something and we ship it through the post office or however, if the post office loses it, like, that's not our fault. But it probably doesn't surprise you to hear how many things get lost in the mail on a daily basis. And that's why I have a job, because it's a full time job, basically having to deal with these nonstop customers upset that their stuff didn't get delivered. And then, you have to like file a claim and, try to get your money back on the stuff that was lost by the post office. So, yeah, it's kind of like not good, but it also makes me think of when I order things online. I try to take that into consideration that my stuff might get lost in the mail. Uh, it's just one of those things that happens. I wish things just work the way they're supposed to work. I always feel like nowadays, how come when you get something or you buy something or you do something, it's never, as they say, the term plug and play. It's never quite plug and play. It's never quite you plug something in and it works. It's always like you have to download something or you have to update something or you have to submit your information to some website somewhere, and then the website will be down, or then you'll get an error message and it'll say try again later. It's like it's like, why can't things ever just work the way it's supposed to work? Like something that should be a simple task, like say I want to go to an ATM and get money, but then I go there and like the ATM is out of order, so then I have to drive somewhere else, go to a different ATM, and it's just like everything always has to be a big hassle for some reason. It can never just be that you just go to an ATM and the ATM works and you get your money and you go. Like, hopefully some of you can relate to that because I always feel like it's like that. Where if you've ever like had an issue or you had to call a company and then you call the company and the company like you'll just get a recording saying you need to go to some website. So then you go to the website and like the website is down or it doesn't work. But yet you can't call the company to tell them like, hey, the website doesn't work. It's just like this like nonstop back and forth. Things never just seem to like work the way they're supposed to work. So hello to the new person, BMW 1234 Y2K. Yes, it is a nice view here. I try to change it up here a bit. You know, I'm mainly just rambling. I just wanted to go live, mainly because I have the ability to go live. There's been a couple times I've tried to go live, and I don't know, maybe my phone wasn't working or something. But yeah. And I'm looking here. I don't see. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does tell you how long you've been online. Because I've heard a lot of people, like, when they go online, they're like, oh, I've already been online for half an hour. You know, it's like, how do they know that? Like, but yeah, I see it. It has a little timer here. Oh, and so one more complaint that I have about. Okay, so absolutely, obviously, I love everything about coming out here in nature. It's a nice, cool day. The wind's blowing, but I don't know what it is. But I feel like there's just a lot of times that bugs or mosquitoes or whatever just seem to love me. They love me so much. Like they cannot get enough of me. So yeah, anytime I come out here in nature, I try to use well, I'm sure this is bad if I'm using chemicals, but I try to use the off, and they have, like off bug spray. But I have these off. It's like these wet wipes that you rub all over your arms or whatever area is exposed, and hopefully it keeps bugs away. But I'm always looking into something new to see if there's something else I can use. I've seen where they have like those little bracelets. I guess mainly little kids wear them, and it's like a citronella bracelet to make the bugs stay away. But I don't know how well those work. And I do have to say, I'm very happy with this chair. Like I mentioned, I saw this at the very start of the beginning here. I got this chair. It was like $20 at Target. It's a folding chair. So obviously it was extremely affordable. Now I do want to say when I went there, they had three options. They had a $10 chair, and they had a $20 one that I got, and then they had the a $30 one. And I noticed some of them have a weight limit. They had one that was like a 400-pound weight limit, which I'm a little shocked by. This one has a 250-pound weight limit. But yeah, a 400-pound weight limit. I can see we got a dragonfly here kind of following us. Let me kind of show people around, see what else is around here. Here, let me adjust this so I can. What is this? Okay. airplane here. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We had a nice little sit here. Got to try out my new chair and got to say hello to all you guys. So I will see you on my next video.